1. Jeffrey Epstein. Filthy rich. If you're not living without Wi-Fi, you know that the Epstein scandal is one of the highest profile examples of power and exploitation in history, but maybe you don't know the whole story, or at least the story as we know it. If you need a refresher or an introduction to who Epstein was, what he did, how, and why he was able to get away with his trafficking crimes for so long, Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich does a good job of explaining Epstein through the stories of those who survived the horrors he created. 2. Dairy Girls. Dairy Girls is undeniably one of the best shows to come out in the last decade. A coming-of-age classic that follows a group of friends trying to deal with the challenges and struggles of growing up. The series is set in 1990s Derry, against the backdrop of the Troubles. The way the show juxtaposes the trauma that marked history with the enduring joy of adolescence is masterful, and it's packed with the peak music of the 90s, including the Cranberries, All Saints and Take That. Above all, it's incredibly funny. 3. Fool Me Once. Netflix and Harlan Coben keep the industrial wheels turning. After shows like The Stranger, Safe, and The Woods, here comes Fool Me Once, another twisty-turny murdery mystery. At this point, it's become a New Year's tradition. Richard Armitage returns to the Coben universe alongside Michelle Keegan. The series revolves around a widowed mother who sees her murdered husband as an intruder on the nanny cam, triggering a series of classic Coben-esque revelations that, despite the murder, oddly feel like a comforting meal. 4. The Brother's Son. After her Oscar victory, Michelle Yeoh returns to her martial arts roots in the action comedy The Brother's Son. After the leader of a Taiwanese gang is shot, his eldest son travels to Los Angeles to protect his mother and brother. The problem is, his brother is completely unaware of the family's shady dealings. It's a sort of nature versus nurture story. If being nurtured meant being raised as the heir to Taipei's most notorious gangster, Yeoh shines as a mother who realizes she can't outrun her past forever. 5. The Staircase. Not to be confused with the dramatization starring Colin Firth and Toni Collette. The Staircase is a classic documentary series by French director Jean-Xavier de Lestrade, offering incredible access to novelist Michael Peterson during his trial for the alleged role in his wife Kathleen's death. The series gets its name from the accusation that Peterson pushed Kathleen down the stairs, causing fatal head injuries. The subsequent trial is presented from the perspective of Peterson and his family, who largely support his innocence. However, nothing is as it seems. 6. Don't AFK with Cats. This online revenge story takes aim at the man who notoriously broke the #1 rule of the internet. The documentary follows the efforts of internet detectives tracking down Luca Magnotta, a Canadian porn star, after he shared animal abuse videos online, particularly involving cats. The major twist in the story comes when a human body is discovered. It's one of the heavy hitters in the true crime genre, solidifying Netflix's reputation as a giant in this type of content. 7. Making a Murderer. Netflix's true crime craze really gained momentum with Making a Murderer, the terrifying true story of a man who was wrongfully accused of attempted murder in the 1980s, exonerated in 2003, and then arrested and imprisoned again in 2005 for another murder. The debates and accusations of legal misconduct are still ongoing. In 2015, 500,000 people signed a petition to the White House, calling for his release from prison. He remains behind bars. 8. The Queen's Gambit. Chess isn't exactly the main subject you'd expect for a big, critically acclaimed prestige miniseries. At least, you wouldn't think so. But Anya Taylor-Joy is here to prove us wrong once again, and The Queen's Gambit is no exception. Set during the Cold War, this coming-of-age series follows a young orphan girl as she discovers her emerging super talent on the black and white chessboard, creating nail-biting excitement around the world's most beloved board game. With stunning production, cinematography, and design, the show delivers period beauty and outstanding performances from a large cast, including Thomas Brodie Sangster. 9. When They See Us. This tragic real-life story of modern American racism focuses on the horrific injustices faced by the Central Park Five, a group of Black and Latino youths wrongfully accused of raping a white woman in 1980. As New York, in this infuriating courtroom drama, there are outstanding performances, particularly from Moonlight's Gerald Jerome, who won an Emmy for his role and turned his success into the surreal, satirical lead role in I'm a Virgo by Boots Riley. 10. Bodies. If time loops are your thing, Bodies can't get more time loop loopy-doopy than this. Adapted from Cy Spencer's graphic novel, the series follows 4 detectives from 4 different time periods, all discovering the same body in the same location. Somehow, despite the decades separating them, their lives are connected, and it might have something to do with a wealthy aristocrat played by Stephen Graham, who seems to exist in every era. You can watch Bodies on Netflix.